while I totally accept that Copilot has so many huge advantages for productivity, and I understand the benefit and the value of being able to essentially just utilize Copilot to really get value from the data that you've got inside your organization, there are some really significant risks that organizations need to be aware of before rolling it out. I think one of the big challenges is unless you've got some of the foundational things right in your data security and your governance programs, then adding generative AI is frankly just too big of a risk. There's a few foundational things that you really need to get right before thinking about rolling out Copilot. And one of the most important things is making sure that you actually know who has access to what and whether that access is appropriate. Because in so many organizations, data is sprawling out of control and it's not quite where it needs to be. So I'm strongly of the belief that, yeah, absolutely, like you should move forward with your Copilot strategy, but make sure that you have a strategy for understanding who has access to what, getting that right. It's also really important as well that you have a mechanism to be able to understand just what's happening to your data in general. So, just at a basic level, who's copying, moving, deleting, which files in general. Just make sure you've got those kind of controls in place. That's going to be important. And it's of course important that you actually understand what sensitive data you've got, where is it, and is it at risk as well. So I really recommend just going through a bit of a risk assessment process before going ahead and rolling out any of these sort of generative AI tools. I think that's really important that you do that. We've actually been working on some new technology at the moment as well, which is going to help organizations understand things like what kind of things are people looking for in generative AI, what types of things are people searching for, what type of data has been implicated by a Copilot search, for example, as well. Because I think these are going to be very important as well. We had one situation where somebody used Copilot to work out if they were on a layoff list and they wanted to understand if they were one of the people that were made redundant. They went to Copilot and they said, am I on the redundancy list? And they found out they were. And, we have other situations where people are trying to get information about like which of our customers spend the most money. That's a brilliant use case, right? But you might not want everybody to be able to answer those questions. Another example, which was like, tell me how much my CFO gets paid or my CEO gets paid. Because there were inappropriate levels of access to data, Copilot immediately answered that question. So we've got to be really careful that we get the right levels of access to data sorted out first before we move forward and get Copilot properly rolled out here. As I say, I think it's, there's a lot of hype around Copilot right now. And I just think we've got to be careful with how we proceed here.